Hi everyone, welcome to the Pokemon Labs Premier Challenge. This is our first one of the 2020 season, so we got a very exciting tournament here, and we got a double dose of cuteness. We have Dene and Pikachu here, ready to support their trainers. Actually, Dene belonging to one of our first players. We got Alicia Martinez and Dene's partner, Hayley Aldworth, ready to go. Let's get to that match as soon as they are set up. But 2020 seasons, it's exciting. We're starting with the Ultra series once again, and then January we go to Sword and Shield, so lots of new strategies, lots of new Pokemon we haven't seen. That's always fun, you know, getting to learn all of those new ideas, like with Gallery and Weezing, canceling out those abilities. That should be pretty fun to see. But for now, we're going to return to a familiar sight here on 3DS. We have Alicia on the left side. She's got Rayquaza, Gastrodon, Incineroar, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, and Solgaleo. Hayley on the right side, gonna have Kangaskhan, Groudon, Incineroar, Tapu Fini, Lunala, and Heliolisk. So definitely, we have a couple unique Pokemon here. Gastrodon, definitely one that I think was a bit underrated back in 19. It definitely, with its moves, types, its combination of types, ground and water, it's a Groudon's nightmare, because if either A, you're going to get hit with a water attack, or B, you are going to get hit with a ground attack, and against Primal Groudon, both of those are very threatening. Hayley with that Heliolisk, also another interesting idea, because you can counter Kyogre essentially. No real worries here, but thanks to that Dry Skin ability, that was something that Heliolisk had a lot of popularity with. But here, like I said, no Kyogre, so should maybe see Heliolisk to take on that Tapu Fini, but I wouldn't be surprised if it skipped out on this match. Well, we are ready to get started with the first match.
Where do we put these?
Oh my goodness. Alright, let's get into it.
Round 2.
Hayley gonna send out Tapu Fini and Kangaskhan. Always see Alicia go for the Incineroar and Tapu Fini as well. So two Tapu Finis kicking it off. We see that Hayley's Tapu Fini activates Misty Terrain first, so could be a speed tie, or Hayley will have that speed advantage here. And the Intimidate gonna threaten the Kangaskhan just a little bit. Definitely physical attacker here. Double fake out on the field as well with Kangaskhan and Incineroar. Hayley could go to try and cancel out that Alicia's move and vice versa, so we don't get a move at any point if both of Tapu Finis are faked out. Otherwise, we are going to see that Incineroar just act as a sitting duck right here as it gets faked out, and that allows both Tapu Finis to then make a move. So either way, all eyes are going to be on the Finis at the end of this round, or their turn at least. Now, what's interesting here is Kangaskhan has a wide variety of options. It's pretty tricky to maneuver, but Kangaskhan, you do have low kick. That's pretty threatening against Incineroar. It is weak to fighting. We now see Kangaskhan Mega here, which is definitely the strategy that we see. I don't think we've seen a normal Kangaskhan in a long time. Mega, and we're going to see Incineroar go for that fake out. Kangaskhan looks like it's not going to go for fake out. It's just going to go straight into that double edge into Tapu Fini. And with that, it knocks it down to around 60% of health. And also, don't forget that recoil. We see the Nature's Madness from Alicia's Tapu Fini onto Hayley's, and that's going to get it down to just under 50% thanks to fake out damage. And now we're once again in a bit of a stalemate. Both the Kangaskhan and Incineroar have almost full health. Kangaskhan at around 90 thanks to the double edge recoil. Both the Tapu Finis close as well. So in this case, the Tapu Finis act a lot of what we've seen, at least with Alicia's, with that Nature's Madness, that usually indicates that it is a support Tapu Fini. Sometimes they'll go for, we'll see some shocking moves like Surf, Muddy Water, but usually if you see Nature's Madness, it means that Fini is meant to just take some hits and assist what it's next to. And the low kick gonna do just above 50%, or just under 50% of damage, leaving Incineroar with around 55 or so. Plus the Moonblast from the Tapu Fini gets it down to just above 25%. As we see Alicia go for that U-turn onto Hayley's Tapu Fini. And that now means Incineroar not only going to switch out, reactivate its fake out, which we did see earlier, but also going to be able to intimidate Kangaskhan again. That definitely helped that Incineroar survive, not get down to under 25% earlier. And we see Nature's Madness target that Kangaskhan. So now both of Hayley's Pokemon just under 50% in the yellow. We see Solgaleo come out from Alicia earlier. So now, with Solgaleo on the field, it actually has a really nice advantage here. Sunsteel Strike is going to be able to do a nice amount of damage, and it is only second to go. It's going to take the bite from Kangaskhan first, which it does very little amount of damage despite being super effective. And we see the heal pulse from Hayley's Tapu Fini go on to the Kangaskhan. So now Kangaskhan back up to almost 100%. Light screen from Alicia's. So that will now mean... Oh, and we see with that bite, Solgaleo gonna flinch there, doesn't get a chance to move. The Solgaleo actually the slowest one on the field. Solgaleo could vary. We've seen a lot of strategies with that, Trick Room, or just go even Choice Scarf. It's in that little speed tier where it could go either way. Looks like this one is the slower, bulkier variant. We see it and kind of can see that from the amount of damage it took from bite as well. So definitely a decent spot to be in right now. I think if you're Alicia, because if Solgaleo has a really nice chance at knocking out this Tapu Fini here. We know it could take the bite, which it is going to be able to do. You also have the light screen, which can protect against whatever comes out after Fini. Heal Pulse. It looks like Hayley's Tapu Fini not really going to be able to do too much damage. It might not have an attacking move. We see both Tapu Finis actually going for the Heal Pulse here, which gets both of their partners up to almost full health, but once again we see a flinch from Solgaleo. So, you know, in this case, it's pretty much we're going in circles in this match. Again, it looks like at this point, I don't know if there's really much of a strategy change that either player can make. Hayley, unfortunately, just doesn't seem to have the power for Solgaleo. We see that double-edged switch up here, going to target the Tapu Fini instead. That gets it down to berry range. Just gonna eat that berry. Get back up to above 75% of health here. And unfortunately for Hayley's Kangaskhan's gonna take some damage. We then see Moonblast. So it looks like they were double from Hayley's Tapu Fini onto Alicia. So they definitely were targeting that Tapu Fini from Alicia's side, but the berry gonna keep it alive. Nature's Madness going to knock that Kangaskhan once again down to 50%, and there's the Trick Room. So that Solgaleo is a slower variant, and now is fastest on the field. Alicia's Tapu Fini also was the slower one of the two, so now Alicia has complete control, going fastest here under Trick Room no matter what happens. And that's really unfortunate for Hayley, because Hayley was definitely relying on Tapu Fini's Heal Pulse to keep that Kangaskhan alive. Now, with it at half health and being the slowest Pokemon on the field, there is not much you can do to really make sure it will make sure that it won't go down, except hope for a Nature's Madness miss here. And that Nature's Madness miss is going to help Hayley get it back, that Kangaskhan back up to almost full health, as we see the Sunsteel Strike from Solgaleo. Going to target that Tapu Fini. They want it gone. And Hayley's Tapu Fini finally goes down. We also learned that the Solgaleo a bit faster than that Tapu Fini, or is in a speed tie with it. Looks like it was in a bit faster, because it did flinch twice. The only move we saw it use was Trick Room, and the bite coming out from Kangaskhan once again knocks down that Solgaleo to around 70% of health. Going into Groudon, and we are going to see Primal Groudon here from Hayley's side. So now that Sun will be out. Definitely going to threaten that Solgaleo. Depends, though, if it is a faster Groudon, slower Groudon. There is a shot that Alicia's side will be able to help with the Nature's Madness and possibly another move from Solgaleo. Solgaleo's tough, though. It doesn't usually have a lot of moves to target Groudon. It's an unfortunate spot, because we know it seems to be a physical attacker with Solgaleos usually are, but Sunsteel Strike, that's usually where you can understand, okay, this is going to be a physical attacker. And Groudon, with Sunsteel Strike, we don't really know what other moves it could use to target Groudon being a physical attacker. But we are going to see it switch out into those Rayquaza to try and avoid any possible Precipice Blades or ground attacks. But Groudon going to protect itself, does not want to get hit this turn. And we see Tapu Fini go for the Scald despite the Sun, and Double Edge from Kangaskhan. This time targeting Tapu Fini once again. Gets it down to now almost red range, just above the red range of health, but it is going to survive the turn. Trick Room's still in play. Rayquaza, a very fast Pokemon, so we do have extreme speed. That would be the way that Rayquaza moves fastest in Trick Room, but unfortunately for now, Alicia in a bit of a tough spot. Tapu Fini should be the fastest. We don't know quite how it compares to Groudon, but Tapu Fini switching out, going into Incineroar. Now at 64 health, so very threatened by that Groudon, but it is going to get an Intimidate off. That's going to get that Kangaskhan down to -2 or -2, and Groudon to -1. But Groudon might have seen that coming, because it swapped out right away. and it's going to be able to go into their Lunala. Rayquaza going to Mega Evolve here, and while we see that happen, I want to point out the fact that Lunala is actually in an interesting spot because it is up against Incineroar, which does threaten it, but it should be able to pick up the knockout on it thanks to how low it is. And we actually still have the double edge from Kangaskhan, getting rid of that threat that Lunala had, or at least tried to, as it hangs on with 1 health. And it eats its berry, gets it back up to just under 50%. That was a very close call. And Rayquaza showing its Earth Power to try and hit that Groudon. Now that Lunala is in that tough spot, as we wait for the game to kick in. Trick Room's still in play as far as we know. Yeah, we're having a bit of issue, but like I said, Trick Room's still in play. So in this case, this Incineroar has a clear hit if it's carrying a Dark move like Knockoff, which is one of, if not the most common move on Incineroar. It can be able to knock out that Lunala in 1 hit, then Rayquaza, as long as it survives the hit from Mega Kangaskhan, can deal a devastating blow onto it since it is at a bit of a lower health than full. So it might, with a Dragon Ascent or some other move, if it, you know, with Rayquaza, you never know what you're going to get. There's so many different options with Rayquaza. Obviously, Dragon Ascent it has to have in order to Mega Evolve, so we know that's there. But other than that, the other 3 moves are just a complete oddball. You can guess whatever. We know Earth Power, so it's presumably to handle Groudon. But in this case, Rayquaza can really go for anything. Kangaskhan's also interesting too because under Trick Room, it's at -2. This is if you're gonna swap out at any time, you want to switch out the Kangaskhan right now because it is not in a good spot. And also same with Incineroar, just like Rayquaza, there's a bunch of different moves that it could have. So if that Incineroar is carrying something like Low Kick, that Kangaskhan is gone before it can even move. Definitely Hayley's in the tougher spot here, face against Alicia's combo, but the switching here, the adjustments that Hayley can make might be able to prevent Hayley, both of Hayley's Pokemon from going down. And we're gonna have it looks like it's gonna disconnect here. So we won't know how that play would end up. So we have a bit of an issue here, but we'll get back into the match in a moment. So at the end of that match, we don't know how it's going to be counted quite yet. But as we get back into this game. But, you know, at this point... Okay, so it's confirmed Alicia's going to take that match there, so Alicia's going to get round 1. It's okay. It is a hardware problem that happened, but it's all fixed now, so we're ready to get into game 2. So Alicia gonna take the win there. And like I was saying, Alicia did have that advantage in the typing, so it looked like that might have happened either way. Of course, you can't really tell until the end of the game, but definitely had the advantage there. The interesting thing about going into game 2 right now, though, is unlike completing a full match, at this point you barely have any information about the opposing team. We know that there were some things about Alicia's team that were revealed, like Solgaleo has Trick Room, and Rayquaza has Earth Power, which are some of the more surprising things. Other than that, we don't really know too much about Alicia's team. Whether that Rayquaza, we know that it did Mega Evolve, but we don't know if it's going to be a rather slow Rayquaza. Is it going to try and... Because we've seen bulky Mega Rayquazas, or attempts at bulky Mega Rayquazas, I should say. So maybe that could be the strategy. Or is it going to go all-out offense, go for max speed and max attack? Don't know. And then with Hayley's team, a lot of switching happened there. We know that their Tapu Fini is definitely playing more of a support role, as is Alicia's, but it did have that Moonblast, and we know that the Kangaskhan has Low Kick, so without that Intimidate from Incineroar, Incineroar itself is threatened by that combination, so we could see a swap of that to kind of go in later with that combo and try and knock out Incineroar, try and bring in a couple special attackers as we see it return to the field on Alicia's side, along with Tapu Fini, so the same lead here. And we are going to see a bit of a different lead from Hayley, going with Lunala Kangaskhan instead of Tapu Fini Kangaskhan. And we see that Intimidate. Also, we get the little clue here that Alicia's Incineroar is faster than their Tapu Fini, so that's a little note to pair, which is interesting because either Incineroar has a bit of a better speed here, this Tapu Fini is either bulky, or Incineroar has some speed investment, so either way, it should give Hayley a good clue here. Hayley's in an interesting spot with Kangaskhan. Could fake out here onto either one of Alicia's Pokemon. One of them is going to get to move either way, but if you fake out the Incineroar, that could prevent it from doing some massive damage onto Lunala. But at the same time, you need to chip Lunala a little bit. It's got, with its ability, it essentially has an extra Focus Sash added. So in this case, I really don't know how this could play out, go either way, and we really don't know who will have a clear advantage until the second turn here, as we see Kangaskhan go for that Mega Evolution. And there's that fake out, like we had expected. Didn't actually see it in the last game, but we do see it now, and it is going to get Incineroar down to a decent amount of health chipped off for fake out at least. And we see Lunala now next going for that Moongeist Beam onto the Tapu Fini slot, and that's going to get it just above 50%. And we see Light Screen from Tapu Fini. So now, in this case, the Lunala a bit less effective thanks to that Light Screen, and especially with Incineroar on the field, not a good place for Lunala to be. On the flip side, though, Kangaskhan in a bit of a good spot here. You have Low Kick. We saw that do around just under 50% on Incineroar, so 2 Low Kicks should be able to KO that Incineroar. And there's not really much Alicia can do to counter Kangaskhan right away, but so it's in a pretty safe spot. There is Heal Pulse, which can be unfortunate, but we're going to see Kangaskhan switch out. Yeah, Hayley, we're going to see go into that Tapu Fini. Wants that Intimidate gone. Actually, we're going to see a double switch from Hayley, going from Tapu Fini and Groudon now instead of Lunala Kangaskhan. So we know all of Hayley's Pokemon on the team. I don't believe it's the same team that we saw earlier, so not really a big surprise. As we see Primal Groudon now on the field, get that Desolate Land up, helps out Incineroar for its Flare Blitz. Not that it will really be useful against any of these two. Actually, we see Incineroar go for Snarl, and definitely targeting that Lunala to try and cripple it as much as possible to Light Screen and Snarl. There is a shot that this Groudon is carrying Eruption. That would be unfortunate for it. And we see a Nature's Madness target the Groudon as well. But other than that Eruption, I don't really think there's anything. Maybe Moonblast on Hayley's Tapu Fini, but other than that, there's not too much that the special attack is going to matter here. Incineroar in a tough spot because Groudon most likely is faster and has got Precipice Blades, which can KO Incineroar after a little chip damage, which it has. So that plus hit Tapu Fini for an insane amount. So combo that with the Moonblast. Hayley has a potential to double knockout here, but Alicia is a smart player and should be able to gauge that, go for possible switches here, see if it's worth it. We see the Rayquaza swap in, so no Precipice Blades damage on the left side here, and the Airlock as well affects the weather here, but Mega Rayquaza will get rid of all that Primal Weather. And we see Rock Slide with that expected switch in. That gets Rayquaza down with that super effective move to just above half health. Moonblast from Hayley's Tapu Fini targeting the Rayquaza as well. That switch was absolutely expected, but that Tapu Fini's not strong enough to knock out that Rayquaza, and we see Alicia's Tapu Fini go for the Primal Groudon there, thanks to the Airlock. So yeah, even though it looked like the weather was still up, it doesn't. The Airlock's gonna be able to get rid of that Groudon. So that 4 times weakness, unfortunate end for Hayley's Groudon. Now bringing back in Kangaskhan, got the fake out once again. There's a possibility that this Moonblast from their Tapu Fini will be able to knock out Rayquaza. It's a good time to bring in Incineroar if you're Alicia, though. You have that Kangaskhan back on the field. Not too much damage can be taken from this combo Kangaskhan Tapu Fini on the first turn, and you get another Intimidate out on Kangaskhan. But at the same time, Tapu Fini, if lucky, Tapu Fini will be able to Heal Pulse Rayquaza. Of course, if the fake out, if we see this Hayley's Kangaskhan go for the fake out onto Rayquaza, then Heal Pulse was an option as well. But we're going to see it switch into the Incineroar, go for that Intimidate, get another fake out from Alicia's side on this next turn here, as we see that attack drop. And there's the double edge, which we did see, so no fake out, just going to go straight knockout here. Tapu Fini going to hang on just a little bit, 15 health, and eat that berry, so it will survive for this turn, just above 50% of health here. And there's that recoil from Kangaskhan. Icy Wind from Hayley's side. We already know that both of Alicia's Pokemon are the slower on the field, so not really going to do too much here. And we see that speed drop. Tapu Fini from Alicia's side going for the Nature's Madness on Kangaskhan. Not going to hit it, unfortunately, for Alicia. Nature's Madness, it just has a bad luck on stream, doesn't it? I think is that the third one this match we've seen miss? It's either second or third already. We've seen miss of Nature's Madness. So that's just an unfortunate move, you know. It's like the stream curse. You know, we say it all the time, but we always see some sort of unfortunate event happen on stream that just could make or break the game. This is one of those things where it's unfortunate that Nature's Madness happened to miss. Lunala coming out from Hayley's side, though, to remove, at least help remove the Intimidate from Kangaskhan. We see Alicia, though, switch out her Tapu Fini for Solgaleo, and there's the Moonblast targeting the Incineroar on Alicia's side. That did very little damage, and Incineroar wants out of there, too, getting a U-turn effectively to swap out now into any one of Alicia's Pokemon. We know that it could go into Tapu Fini or Rayquaza, and here we're going to see the Tapu Fini. Now, a bit interesting of a move. I'm kind of thinking that it's a bit too late there, but Incineroar would have been really useful against Lunala. It's still, and Alicia still has it in the back, obviously. But we have that Lunala versus Solgaleo matchup here, so Sun or Moon, pick your side. In this case, Lunala definitely has the advantage with Moongeist Beam and being faster, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alicia swap out the Solgaleo back into Incineroar, or even Tapu Fini could take that hit if it's at a decent. It's at just under half health, so there's a shot it will be able to survive that Moongeist Beam, depending on how much bulk is invested. And with Hayley, with Hayley's Tapu Fini, it's actually really a nice safe spot here because we know the Trick Room setter for Alicia's team is Solgaleo. So, and now with Incineroar and Tapu Fini being relatively slow, Hayley should have the fastest two on the field. So you can keep going for that Moonblast or Moongeist Beam and Heal Pulse. But we are going to see that Tapu Fini switch out, prevent it from getting knocked out right away. And we see our first Z Crystal of the day. Don't get used to those. It's a Lunalium Z. But don't get used to those because Sword and Shield, when 2020 format kicks in, we will not be seeing any more Z Crystals. But Menacing Moonrays Maelstrom. Gonna hit this Incineroar. Ooh. Ooh. Definitely could tell they wanted that Solgaleo out. But unfortunate move there to pick the Incineroar. I'm curious how much this will do. Incineroar, it's a bulky Pokemon. It's resisted. These moves always look so powerful, and then it's actually really funny to see how much they actually take. That actually did a lot more than I was expecting. I'll admit that. That got it down to just above quarter health. And the light screen coming in too means that Lunala is in a really bad spot. We also know that Incineroar has Snarls, so Lunala just cannot catch a break against Hayley's combo right now. But you do have Kangaskhan in play. We did see it switch out, and we can see it fake out. So Incineroar, I could see Hayley going for that double target on Incineroar, make sure it gets out of the field, depending on what other move that Lunala has. We could see it, or Lunala is going to swap out. It was like, either way it could happen, because I don't know if a Moongeist Beam will be able to knock it out with a fake out, but anyway, we see that Misty Terrain come back on play, and there's the low kick from Kangaskhan, so not even going to really worry about it, just go straight for that low kick. And now Incineroar is gone, so no more Intimidates. Tapu Fini going for Nature's Madness. It finally hits, and it targets the opposing Tapu Fini. Gets it down to just under 50% health. And now we're on an even playing field when it comes to the numbers. Each team has 3 Pokemon left. We see Solgaleo come in. And now Solgaleo is actually in a really nice spot to both set up Trick Room or knock out Tapu Fini, or do both if it survives long enough. Tapu Fini on Alicia's side and Tapu Fini on Hayley's side have almost identical health, both in the yellow range. I believe Hayley's is a bit lower, but it's not really going to matter, except that Sunsteel Strike does around 50% on Tapu Fini. So if Hayley should be very concerned about the Solgaleo. The question is, do you swap it out or do you sacrifice in hopes that they're going to go Trick Room on this turn and keep your Fini alive for later, or do you take the sacrifice, possibly, knowing that you'll be able to still outspeed on the next turn? It's a bit of a mind game here, but we see the double edge from Kangaskhan, Hayley's Kangaskhan. That is going to get rid of Alicia's Tapu Fini here, and that gets Kangaskhan down to around 70% of health. Moonblast coming out from Tapu Fini, so gonna get some chip damage on Solgaleo, literally 16 health. And the Trick Room comes out, so now Alicia has that advantage with the Trick Room, but is in a bit of a tough spot because we do know Kangaskhan has Bite, and Rayquaza in play. That's a bit unfortunate as well because Rayquaza is relatively fast. Again, if it's a bulkier set, it might be able to outspeed Kangaskhan if there's no speed investment, but that's just gonna be tough either way. This is a tough spot because I think Alicia has the advantage with the Solgaleo. That's going to be able to do a nice amount of damage to all of Hayley's remaining Pokemon, with the exception of maybe Groudon. But I don't know. Hayley's got a bit of, with that, like I said, Groudon in the back. Really? Groudon in the back. Oh, I'm sorry. Lunala in the back. Lunala in the back. Still, it's either way, Lunala or Groudon, it doesn't really matter. They both have moves that can hit Rayquaza and Solgaleo very effectively. So while Alicia right now with her combo of both restricted legendaries, as we see Mega Rayquaza evolve, with both her restricted legendaries, she has the advantage here. But overall, I think Hayley's got with that Lunala in the back, and we see this now. Solgaleo Z. I think Solgaleo Z. That is tough to say. I'll tell you. That's a tongue twister. But we're gonna see it searing sun rays smash onto this Mega Kangaskhan. Now, Solgaleo Z Crystal is not very used, we see, but it definitely is a great item to use on a Trick Room Solgaleo because you don't really need much bulk, you don't need extra speed, you don't need extra attack. You've got all of that down. You just really need a super powered move, so it's a really good move to use here. And as you see, it's able to one-hit KO that Mega Kangaskhan. So, very good move. And Alicia might have just switched up the game here. We see Dragon Ascent onto his Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini at a half health. It's not going to be able to take the Dragon Ascent, so now we do see the defense drop from Rayquaza. And depends on Rayquaza's item, you know? I don't know. I think thinking about Rayquaza's current health, Assault Vest might be able to help, but then Lunala might have Side Shock, so it doesn't really matter. Rayquaza's a lost cause. Solgaleo, though, I think it's going to come down to the Sun Moon versus here. You know, Rayquaza, it's tough because right now Hayley has to debate, do you go for the attack on the Rayquaza or do you go for the attack on the Solgaleo? Solgaleo is going to go first overall and knock off that Shadow Shield, but still, it's tough because this could go either way, I think, depending on how these moves play out, how this single turn plays out here. There's that Moongeist Beam from Lunala here. That is going to target the Rayquaza, and Rayquaza's going to live it down. So what is that? Is it actually Assault Vest? And with that crunch, it is 4 times leap. And Alicia is going to take game number 2 and the match with that crunch and the Rayquaza surviving. So yeah, that Rayquaza was actually really bulky compared to what I was expecting. So who knows? There is a shot that Rayquaza might have been Assault Vest. I don't know. You know, today so many people are bringing out a lot of interesting teams. At this point, 2019's over, but we're still using that format, so you can have a little fun with it before 2020 begins. But I'm gonna have a little fun seeing how these guys react to the next matches later, and hopefully you'll come back and join us again.